I'm fine, and how are you doing?
Fine, fine. The weather is here very nice today. There's the wind and clouds, and everything is coming. Calm down. It is very, very new feeling after this long summer. It's refreshing. So it's beautiful.
Great. Around here is the opposite. It's a beautiful day today. We have a sun. The sun is shining. It's a little. It's getting hotter the days, and it's very beautiful. So it's good. It's good. Finally, we have some hot air around here.
Thanks. And here's Felipe on YouTube chat says, Shalom, dear Etty, have us all a blessed conversation. From Felipe. A wishing.
Thank you. I think he's here now. Felipe
He's
is
here
here.
as well.
Yes.
Good. Good morning, Felipe. Hope you can hear us. I'm very glad that the weather is changing now in Brazil and you can experience
Finally, it's finally.
sunny days and warm days and
Yes.
beautiful days and outside in the fresh air. Very, very happy. Felipe, good morning. Do you hear us?
Shalom, shalom. Good evening, good
Hello.
morning.
How do you do?
I'm fine, Eti. Thanks. I'm fine. And how do you do?
Fine. Very happy to be here with you and to converse.
Yes, yes. Me too.
Thank you so much. Hello, Raine.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom awakened. How are you?
Doing amazing. I'm glad to catch this at the beginning. How are you?
Fine, fine. We have here on the call Fernando and Felipe and Andre and Reine or Reina here on YouTube. And with this beautiful morning, what questions or thoughts do you have? Or you would like to share with us?
I, I
Insights?
I was listening. I went back and I'm taking notes and I'm tuned in now. So I was taking notes from yesterday, and when you said you were talking about how it meant innocence is the truth, and when we are honest first off with ourselves about what's on our heart, that is innocency, and we can't cover up things. And so, like, I got in late on the conversation yesterday, and that's kind of what I was asking you yesterday. Understanding the Bible beyond time and space, and understanding how it is a mirror. I just wanted to know your thoughts because I'm very like I'm a warrior, and I'm all for standing up for the fatherless, for the widow, for the the down stricken, for the underdog, and which means that I have to confront a lot of evil, and a lot of evil doesn't like me, because I'm honest, and because I stand for the truth, and not for opinion. Even you were saying, like, when we say emet after we read Torah in the synagogue, it's nobody's opinion and nobody's preference. It's the truth. And so I just wanted to know, what is your take on where we stand in this world today, where there's so much lies being pushed, and how do we use what we're receiving here, what we see in the Bible, to not be judgmental, not be dogmatic, not be like judges of others, but how do we use all of this to fight the war that's before us? Because it's ugly out here, it's really ugly out here. So I just wanted to know your take on all of these beautiful truths, and how to incorporate them more and more into our the mission that we all are on individually each day.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Thank you so much. Good morning, Jill. Nice to have you here on the call. Just a general sentence. 1 second. There's a message here on WhatsApp. 1 second. All right. I have to get a message. Yeah. Just to answer, to give you one sentence.
Shalom, Ati. Good morning,
Hello.
everybody.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hi. Nice to hear you this morning.
You too.
Thank you. So the awakened one that is on the chat and now on Twitter as well ask a question. I'm just going to give like one sentence at the beginning as an answer, and the rest is listening. What I offer to your question is to listen to those conversations. Listening. Listening is not a passive action. Listening is very active. So to listen. This is my proposition for the day. Questions from Jill or Fernando or Felipe or Raine or Raine. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. If you have questions or thoughts regarding ideas, words, themes of the Bible, something which is occupying your mind, please feel free to ask.
I was just to say something about this speech. I guess it's a major topic. Uh, sometimes we all think about it, and how hard it is to put in practice what we learn, and how to be really truthful. And this is something I think a lot. And nowadays, what comes into my mind about this subject, it's always just what it is said, to listen, to be like to listen is it's harder. It is an active way to approach the other, and it's quite hard. It's not easy at all. But in another way, I think a lot about conversation, bringing the truth, bringing the unity, the Aleph, and the love in a way, bringing this love, uh, and just talk with the ones that we love, and those that we have some kind of differences. If we could just talk in a loving way, not mean love, do not meaning soft, but with truth and with respect, as much as we can. And so this is something I think a lot, and wanted to share this with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Also, Raina said that her name is like Raina, like rain, a Raina, Raina. Thank you, Raina. Thank you, Raina.
I have a question, and it's very proximately to what Reina and Felipe said before. If you could say something, because yesterday we were talking in the Zohar session here in Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
and following the Zohar, it came the idea of Sukkah again, even
Yes,
not being. And in the Sukkah, we received the 7 guests, the
yes,
Ushpizins, right?
yes, yes.
And also Felipe said yesterday beautiful things about this, because we would like to receive guests. The tradition says that each day of the festival of Sukkot, we can receive a guest. One day is Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Aaron, Joseph, and I think David is the last one, maybe.
Yes, yes.
And it's interesting because when we think that we are receiving guests, we are the hosts, it seems that we are in control, you know. We are the host who will receive people or will do something. But it seems that if you are receiving guests that represents these seven sages, or like in other word for this, you are
Shepherds. Shepherds.
seven shepherds, thank you. You are not in control at all. You are serving something. You are receiving, you know, because when you are host, you want to give to somebody something. But if the guest is these shepherds, you are receiving, in fact, and you have to see what is happening. So this ability to listen to the other and not to be in the control of the situation, but to really just being, you know, just being,
Mm,
and to be in this experience in the now, in the present. And if you could say something about this. And one last question is that Felipe said yesterday also that when you receive this guest, the seven shepherds, and you do not feed the poor, you are not feeding the guests. The book of Zohar says something like that.
mm,
So to give this love to the world, you know, not to be only with you, but to give to anyone that is needing.
mm,
If you could say, I don't know if I could be clear at all, but
mm.
if you could say something about these ideas, Eti, I will thank you very much.
There are a few ways to approach. To thank you for sharing us that yesterday was a Zohar session in Brazil. I'm so happy. And thank you for bringing forth those questions. And if you can share more of what you had yesterday in Brazil in the Zohar meeting, I would be happy. So please have the time in front of you to share with us if you wish, or Felipe to wish the core of conversation that you had last night, if you wish now or later. Or first answer your question. What would you like to have first?
I think this question is the main topic, Eti, but Felipe was very inspired yesterday, so he can talk
Mhm.
and bring what he felt about the conversation. But for me, this was the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So until Felipe will say something, there is a quote that Andre found from Weinreb, Friedrich Weinreb, to his son, because the awakened asked at the beginning of conversation what to do, how to fight, and so. And Weinreb says to his son, never fight against, in big capital letters, an issue, but for one. Never fight against with capital letters, an issue, but only for capital letters, one. This is Vine report that later we shall put in the chat box for everyone, to just a beginning to answer the awakened question, because to answer it requires a lot of listening. So this is to answer the awakened question. And now Felipe, please share with us what, if you can, if you wish, what did you discuss last night in Brazil?
Eti, first of all, thank you so much for this quote, this wine rap quote, because it is something. Everything we talk here, it makes great big difference in my heart. But yes, yesterday we were talking about this Sukkot, the festival of Sukkot, and this ushpizin, these guests. And there is a lot to say, but uh, I guess what Fernando said also it is that in fact we are receiving these guests, these shepherds, but in fact uh, they are hosting us in our good deeds and good thoughts, and in in a way they are who have to receive our energies and so on.
Mhm.
We feel so small in their presence, and I think this is one point of what we were discussing. And another point, I guess it is important, is that when we open our sukkah, when we open our vessel to receive these divine guests,
Mhm.
not it's not for granted that they are good ones. I mean, this is they are not what we expect, not always what we expect. Maybe the guests are making trouble, maybe guests are you know disturbing our comforts, and so we have to pay attention to it, because we have to feed this bad guests, in a way, so to speak. We have to be benevolent with
Mhm.
it, because they are messengers of another world. It's like this. There is a Rumi quote, Rumi text about it. They are these guests. They are teaching us how to be better. And also in the session, I think it was Rodrigo that said to us something beautiful. That God for when we ask God for like a virtue, like I want to be a good person, I want to be a loving person. God do not give us love. He give opportunities for us to exercise our love,
Yes.
to prove our love. If we ask patience, God do not give us patient thoughts or feelings, but He give us opportunities to be peaceful persons.
Yes. That's great. It's true.
Yes.
It's something that what we ask is not passive receiving, but an active option to exercise what we ask for. The I think that's what Rodrigo is trying to say, that if we ask for something, it doesn't mean that we go to a restaurant and ask for pizza and we get pizza. Somebody made a pizza, but if we ask for patience from to have patience, we are given opportunities to exercise or to improve our patience or mercy. And this is exercise or to practice, we need to be active.
Can you go break down perfect peace as it's seen in Isaiah 26:3, where he says, "You will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you."
Thank you. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Now we shall move to the concept board and see, and let's look into those questions about the seven shepherds, because Reina was asking what is the seven shepherds? Yes, Reina? What is the word? What is the word to receive? To receive is lekabel, lekabel. I like Sukkot feast and shepherds mention. So Reina also asked about the word to receive, lekabel, lekabel. I'll write it here. We have here, okay, lekabel. I have to increase my transparency to everyone. 1 second. It's 144. Let's see. Lekabel, lekabel is to receive, so to speak. So to speak. Why do I say so to speak? Because there are many other ways to look. Yes, to look at this. We, it is also kabel, also in Arabic, is like parallel, parallel or lateral. Lekabel is not so. Lekabel is from makbil. Makbil is parallel, parallel. Do you understand the difference between to receive and parallel? Both are the same root in
Yes,
Hebrew. Yes. So,
amazing. Is
so in other words, and also this has to do with Kabbalah, what people think about Kabbalah. Maybe you heard the name Kabbalah or Kabbalah is like the deliverance of the divine wisdom. There are many, many definitions to this, but one of the ways to approach the Kabbalah is Makbila. Makbila. Makbila is something that parallel, that if a person experience any moment in his life, let's say he sees a flower, a bee and a flower in the garden. So this experience of being with the flower, with the bee in the garden, is mirroring or bring a parallel picture from the absolute, from the root, from the source. So what is a Kabbalist? We can ask, according to this logic, what is a Kabbalist? A person who sees parallel worlds. He see or he hear one note, and in his mind he hears other compositions from one note. In his mind he can generate, or what comes to him as parallel, many how do you say, musical, how do you say, creations. I don't have the word in to express it in music, but from one note he can hear many, many concerts. One
It's
note
like
samba. Yes.
it's the harmonics of one note, 80.
Yes, thank you,
It's
thank you. From
like
one,
yeah,
a library of yes, yes, yes. One note.
there is yes
Yes,
this
please, you can speak about it because you write music.
no, just this topic is quite interesting because there is I don't know if the 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 terminology in English is correct. It's like a harmonic series, and this is quite related to the um, AHE
Mm-hmm.
21. What is
Yeah.
the proportion?
Mm-hmm.
The you know this proportion you always talk about it, the area proportion
Yes.
or something. And one note generates a series of harmonics.
Yes.
There, there is a pattern. Um, it's like a fixed pattern. Uh, it's always the same, and it is you know it's so beautiful. And because there is one main note, but in this main note you can hear, it's a scientific fact, you can hear all the notes,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
It's it's, it's a subject for itself, you know.
It's true. It's true. This is why also Kabbalah has to do, and we see in the books, and I move a bit to the Kabbalah because Reina asked about to receive. So there is a place here to enlarge the discussion before we move to the shepherds. And the Kabbalists, what or people who wrote and left us text, written text, whether they are even musicians. Last night I got a letter from one of our YouTubers who is an architect, great architect, and he put aside his talent to focus in the spirit, and he sent me also not just the sketches but also quotes about music and musicians describe their relation with the higher. It was very interesting because what musicians express in this connection to the notes or to music, this is also what we find in Kabbalist books. Though they write the letters with a pen and with a pen with ink in ancient times, they hear. It's about hearing or listening. Listening is something very hard. Keshev. Keshev, we learned the word Shema, Shema Israel, listen Israel, but the word is Keshev. Keshev has kof and shin from kashe. It's hard, hard. Like Felipe says, it's very hard to listen, very hard. We need to mute all our thoughts and to be nothing, just to listen. It is very hard to listen. This is why we have so few people who can listen. We have to mute everything. So, what we find when there is a connection to the spirit, whether it's by people who are writing or painting or write music, they're all listening. If you look at Van Gogh picture, you you can see the you cannot just see the wind moves in the wheat field. You can hear. It is very interesting because he was painting with a thick brush the wind moving into the wheat field. But from the way he uses the brush and the colors and the canvas, you can hear it. I can hear the wind. So we have like kind of synergy or parallelities. Do you understand? Yes, Daniel Osborne is writing, isn't the most here at the Aleph from left to right, and we read from left to right the Hebrew, it's Ot. Ot, it's both a letter or a sign or a tag or an omen. So why did we start to speak about Kabbalah or Kabbalah, Makbilah, parallel, and musicians and artists? Because there is the spirit comes and touches. How does this the spirit comes and touches us? It's like the waves, they reach the shore. They touch the shore and they return to the sea. This is how it comes to us. Comes a thought or a note. It can come in many variations. Sometimes it can come to you as three languages at the same time, and each language speaks different stories. It happened to me in French, in German, and in English. Three different stories, and I don't speak and write French, and my German is not that good, but they come together. They want to say something. So be as we be we. This is also interesting. We as susceptible or servants of the spirit, we have I mute myself. I'm nothing, and something which is coming, I put everything aside and I receive the English story, the German story, and the French story. And sometimes I can receive for hours, and this is what I do. I write down what is coming. But in order to receive, like Felipe said, to listen, it's like binding of Isaac. We are in a way binding all our others forms of living, going to the see a movie, going outside, drink some. No, if we're serving the spirit, this is what we do.
Iti,
Yes,
could you, uh, s- since we are talking about listening, Shema,
yes,
could you talk a little bit about those two letters in capital form, Ain and Dalet, that that they are in the verse that on Shema calling,
yes.
Shema. Could
Shema
you talk
Israel,
about it?
listen, Israel. So first, I will locate the verse that people might see this also visually. One
Yes.
second, I will locate the verse. From book has to be with Deuteronomy. I one second. Deuteronomy 6:4. Here, I'll put it here in the chat. Yes, 6:4. Do you see this? Deuteronomy 6:4. Who would like to read the English? I put it. Do you have access to the chat? Do you see the laptop? Do you have a laptop, Felipe, Fernando?
Yes, I
I,
have it.
I can read it.
Yes.
Yes.
See here,
I'm on the
Deuteronomy
move, but
6 and
okay.
4.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So who would like to read it?
Yeah, I can read it for you.
Okay.
Deuteronomy 6 and 4.
6 verse 4.
Okay, it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one."
Yes. And Felipe, if you see in Hebrew the letter Ain, the third letter Ain from the right is a capital letter Ain, and the letter Dalet at the end is a capital letter Dalet. And Felipe was asking, why is that so? True, Felipe?
Yes, it is.
Yes, because the letters Ain and Dalet, they mean Ad in Hebrew is like eternity, eternity, eternity. Ad is also until, it means also until, but also eternity or infinite. It also means a testimony because Ed is a person who gives testimony in court. Ed. But if you write the letters opposite, is da. Da is to know.
That.
Yes, to know. Plus value of ad or ad eternity is 74. What happens if we double this value, 74?
144.
If we double it, 74,
148.
148.
148.
What is 148, Fernando?
Ehad.
Had one. Why listen, Israel, Shema Israel, Hashem, Eloheinu, Hashem, Echad? Why those letters add? Because if we hear inside, it means that there's a signal that comes from somewhere and we heard it. So we double the sum because there's a sender and there's a receiver, and it brings us to the one. Echad. Also,
We
this,
listen.
yes, Felipe?
We have we have 2 years.
We have two
2 years.
ears. Yes, yes, we
If
have.
we hear two times, if 2 times 74, 2 years. 2 years.
Because every signal that comes from the infinite or the source is being received by us. Colors, notes, everything, air.
AT.
Yes.
And it brings back the original topic, just in the sense that if we are aware to listen to these things that came from the spirit, we must be humble to transform ourselves, to make the death of some part of us, or to be transformed by the spirit. And this is not easy because it implies a death, it implies a transformation. So what do you think about this?
It's good because what is the transformation? The more we listen, the more we reduce the noises of the world or what we think about ourselves or about the world or what we were educated or what the surrounding is broadcasting. So this shell is falling and it's like space and there's more open space in us so we can listen. The more we listen, the more we clean ourselves from all kinds of perception that, I mean, through the course of time went into our system. Education, surrounding, media, false ideas, noise. Who knows what we bring from other lifetimes with us also. So the more we listen, the more we clean ourselves up, because it's impossible to listen if we're not empty. So listening is indication of the emptiness. People with self-importance cannot listen, or any kinds. One of this, there are other problems that people are carrying with them. One of them is self-importance. They cannot listen.
That's very good. It reminds me of Proverbs that says, "A fool only desires to discover his own heart."
Mhm.
Could you please repeat it?
I was saying, I was saying, that reminded me of a Proverbs where she was saying that you can't listen unless you are empty, and then the self importance is what you know prevents truly receiving from the infinite. So Proverbs 18:2 um, says, "A fool does not delight in understanding, um, but that his heart may discover itself." So only to hear himself, basically.
Yes, thank you.
Proverbs 18.
And two,
Again, I'll try to bring it to the class. Second. I put it here in the chat on YouTube. 18. Yes, you can read it. You can read the. Do you have it, Felipe? Do you have a laptop? Jill,
Yes, it is the verse 2.
too. Yes. Can you please read?
A fool hath no delight in understanding, but only that his heart may lay itself bare.
Mhm.
Is that the one?
Is that the one? This is what you meant.
yes.
Thank you.
No delight, but only.
If we clean ourselves from self-importance, we can listen. This is why it's so hard to listen. I mean, the hardest thing is to empty ourselves. To feel ourselves, this is not a problem. This is the law of nature. This is the gravity. We want to eat, we want to drink, everything we want like a black hole to pull into ourselves. This is a print. But the exercise in growing is to do the opposite, to empty ourselves from everything.
Eti.
Yes.
May, may I say that this Proverbs, thank you, my friend, it relates to one topic, yes, we were discussing yesterday in Zohar session, that it when one delights himself in the table, let's say, when someone is just taking everything for himself and not sharing it with the poor, or even we can say with the manifestation around us, uh, this food, this nourishment that we are receiving for ourselves, it's like it's something filthy. It's something that do not nourish at all. It's like when we want everything for ourselves. This food, this nourishment, it's I will bring the very words that it was in the class of Danny Matt.
Mhm.
It's like a filthy vomit for,
Mhm.
it's something filthy. It's
Yes, yes, of course, of course. I
no
will,
good, no good at all. You
yes,
know,
I would like to express the word poor in Hebrew and to understand. I mean, there's also a prayer for the poor in Psalms. Tfilah le'ani ki ya'atov. Poor, so ani, poor, in ayin. has the value of 70, 50, and 10. How much it is together? 70, 50, 10, 130. Is it right? Do you see the mathematics? 70 plus 50 is
Yes,
120.
yes, it's right.
So what is the poor from the divine perspective? Why they are poor? Not just poor in mind, but in money also. Why sometimes we are poor-minded people? Sometimes a person can have $1 million in the bank and he's a poor-minded people because he doesn't feel the connection to the higher. It doesn't matter how much houses he has. According to the Hebrew perspective, if the value of poor is 130, what is a poor? Expression of what?
Love.
Love.
It's an opportunity to express love. It.
Yes. And sometimes Felipe asks if we don't share. Sometimes Felipe, we learn here in class or from the books. Sometimes we cannot speak because it's impossible. But as Weinreb says, the fruit is in the behavior. Our behavior in the world speaks. A person can go on stage and he can claim that he is very modest on stage with a lot of lights.
Yes, I've
Yes,
seen this.
yes, and they
I've
say
seen
that, they believe in everything. They go on stage with a full show, and but what we learn here, if you really take it in, it express itself in our behavior. So a person can go to the grocery shop, but he cannot have a discussion with the people who work there because they are from, because respect, sometimes people they don't have, but our behavior reflects the listening. Not everything is translated to words. Sometimes the how do you say, the spirit expresses itself in an infinite way or infinite ways.
Yeah, it's so good. And like since I first tuned in, I love how you saying like the word is the mirror, the Bible is the mirror, because you don't really go to the mirror and talk. You kind of, even though it's more so looking when we go to the mirror, but you kind of are listening in that moment. You really, when you go see, look at yourself when you wake up, it's kind of like you're listening to how do I feel today. What do I have to do today? You're listening to um, really what's on your mind and
Mm,
your heart as you look into the mirror.
true. This is when we stand in front of a mirror, if we pass over a mirror, but also everything that we walk through the days, the world mirrors us, motions, notions. Sometimes we see a bird flies, so it evokes something or mirrors something in us because we have impression from this bird flying. We have impression, we walk, people speak to each other in a promenade, the word is moving in the air. We hear a word or two and it also makes an impression. A wave makes an impression. If we pay attention, and Van Web speak about this, the major work or the major exercise is to shift our attention. There is a promise in the Bible. Lo yechdal evion min haaretz. The poor will never. I will never cease to bring poor, because God Almighty, He can. I mean, the Infinite can do everything. But there is a promise. Lo yechdal. There will never be lack of poor people. Why? Why? Because what we need is love.
Yes. The opportunity to exercise our love.
Yes. Because love, as 13, contains the 12. The 12, we say, is not just a high number in the clock, it's just the whole appearances in time, seasons, months, many shades, many colors. So the 13, say the 13 hour or the cycle of the clock, which is 13, in a way embraces or holds the 12 months. The year holds the 12 months. The ring of the year holds the 12. 12 is the appearance of time. We have 12 months per year. Each month has its sign or its appearance in the season of the year and colors and characteristics and so. So we have 12 different appearances. And sometimes they have nothing to do with each other. But what holds all of those 12 different appearances together? Love. Questions?
Can you talk about, so as we talk about listening and receiving and emptying ourselves and all of these indoctrinations or educations that have been not according to truth, which is the Almighty, can you go to Isaiah 26:3 and how listening relates to our mind and what we focus on?
Again.
Well, basically, can you correlate how listening and our attention, like how what we focus our mind on, can you correlate how those two come together? Because Isaiah 26:3, it says, "He will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in thee." So I was just wondering if you had anything for how listening, being receptive to the Almighty, to the Infinite, and what we focus on, um, how all of those relate.
Now, Isaiah, I heard Isaiah, but what is the question that you're asking is how to be in deep listening?
Well, Isaiah 26:3. So you could pull that one up.
Second.
And I was just wondering if there's anything in the language and in the numbers about how listening correlates to what we mentally focus on, because it's a lot out here in the world and we have a choice to what we want to choose to give our energy to.
Mhm.
So that's why I was asking. as it relates here, this perfect peace that's spoken about in Isaiah 26:3, how this all relates to listening and being receptive.
Hmm. I put Isaiah 26. There's another messages here. One second. Wait a second. Okay, there is a verse and people. Shelton, good morning. Good morning, Shelton. So there is a verse here. Try to see in the whiteboard. Do you have it? Yes.
Yes, I have
I
it.
see. I see the English translation. I see against the Hebrew. יצר סמוך תיצור, שלום שלום כי בך בטוח. It's interesting that they translated the Yetzer, the desire, into a mind. This is very interesting. I find it very interesting. Because they say the mind and the Hebrew says Yetzer. One second. One second. It's good that you're asking. One second. Because the message is also on WhatsApp. Shalom. Shalom. What is coming here, if you ask about, I mean, the English says the mind stayed on thee, they translate, so to speak, the philosophy. But as the verse says in Genesis, Vayitzer, Vayitzer formed he formed man with, we have with two yods here. Yes? Who wanted to speak?
I was remembering Genesis 80 from this verse from Isaiah
Mm-hmm.
because we have here this Yetzer,
Yetzer, very good.
right,
Yetzer.
and the Tsar,
The Tsar,
Tzaddik, and Resh is narrow, right? It's form and narrow. And we have double form here. We have this Yetzer and Tetzor as well.
Mhm. True, true.
But what is interesting, what came to my mind, linking with what Genesis said in that verse from Vayetzer,
Hmm.
because in that form we look at that. You have a Bible page about it,
Yes, I can bring it. One second. Yes.
and it's beautiful because the form that the Adam, the human, have is it's a mirror for eternity. It's a mirror for the higher, right?
Yes.
And here is a promise that the Lord will support this divine form, this this mirror of eternity in peace to the one who keeps it, who keeps this promise, who keeps this, who remembers, maybe would be an idea. Well, who remembers his origin. I don't know, just an alternative look into this beautiful verse that our friend brought.
This is true. I put a Bible page on the YouTube chat. You can follow and I'll bring it. I'll try to save the page and bring it also to here to the concept board. One second. Try to bring it as well. One second. Andra, can you please bring the Bible page from YouTube? One second. I'll try to upload it here. Second. Vayitzer, and he formed, there is a verse in the book of Genesis 2:7, and he formed, and the Lord God formed man, ashes from the land, afar min ha'adamah. The Bible says in Genesis, thank you, 2:7, Vayitzer. Vayitzer, Rabbi Akiva says with two yods, with two letters yod. Why is that? Two-letter yod. And there is uh, an answer. Yetzer is desire or a will. And Rabbi Akiva says that we are having like two kinds of desires. One desire to the earth, earthly desire, flesh desires, and higher desire. And those two yods are creating the letter Aleph. Please pay attention. Here is the diagonal of the letter Aleph. Or here we can see the letter Vav in Vayitzer, and he formed. We see Vav and two yods. Please look at it. Vav and two yods creating the letter Aleph. So we have upper yod, higher desire, and we have here lower yod, lower desire. What does it mean? And he formed the man. Because the formation of human is in both realm, earthly and the divine, and we can grasp all of this from the word vayitzer, and he formed. Plus, if we establish from those three letters Aleph, and we put the two letters Tzadi and Resh, this is mean Eretz, Eretz, earth. So to return from this journey to the question about Isaiah, Yetzer Samuch, our desires, the earthly and the divine, are very, very close. If we put them, if we can track that they are very close to each other, it means we create peace. Do you understand?
That's very good.
Yes, Fernando, your microphone is open. There are messages on WhatsApp. I hope I can. Maybe you can explain. There's another question on WhatsApp. Maybe you can explain why perfect peace is shalom, shalom.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Why is perfect peace shalom, shalom?
And not like Tamim Shalom, or you know what I'm saying, or another word. I was thinking about that same thing. That's interesting.
Why perfect peace is shalom, shalom? Because perfect peace, shalom, shalom, it means shalom in our heart and shalom inside and outside. This is perfect peace.
Wow, that's awesome. So once again, like even in this world as crazy as things are going on, we still have the opportunity to create the peace within and the peace that surrounds us.
Yes,
That's the gift. That's the promise that the Almighty has given us.
yes.
That's good. That's good. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Fernando, your microphone is open.
Just fine, it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Shelton is open as well, microphone. And you ask about the seven shepherds that are coming to the Sukkah. Shepherd in Hebrew, ro'eh, ro'eh, ro'eh. This is a shepherd. Eder, the sheep, as a single sheep. This is a herd. This is 274, and this is 275. So what the difference between a shepherd and a herd in Hebrew is one. The shepherd in us, it's not an external shepherd outside in the meadows. This is also, but what is a shepherd in us? A shepherd in us is the one who can put all of those different sheep and goats together and bring them safely to a place. Like the shepherd outside, take the sheep and the goats and bring them to good meadows or to a place that they can drink. This is external shepherd, inner shepherd. We have inside of ourselves thoughts, emotions, sentiments, dream, all kinds of impression, good memories, green memories, gray memories, and those things inside of us, when they manifest, they can drag us or scatter us to different places. We remember a dream, we're there, somebody says a word, I have an impression from music, so where am I? So I'm scattered, I'm how to say, we are all over the place. So the shepherd, first of all, in us, the shepherd in us collects all of those things and put them together. Though we have different experiences, colors, music, so impressions, dreams, relationship, we put everything together. This is the meaning of the shepherd. So at the sukkah, the temporary sukkah or the tabernacle or the hut is an image for our temporal being here. A baby is born, it develops to be an adult, it grows to be a wise man, and he leaves. So we are on this planet living temporary life. So Sukkah, first of all, is a manifestation of temporary dwelling here in it. And in this temporal, we're hosting seven shepherds, like seven different elements in us. Abraham is reflecting a quality in us, grace, infinite grace. Isaac is the overcoming. Because in our temporal being here, we are crossing seven kinds of modes, seven shepherds, or seven kinds of modes of being. Like 7 days of creation, we have the menorah. Either we look at the menorah at a manifestation of the seven, yeah, we have seven, or we have seven shepherds, like seven sphere, yes, we have the seven spheres, basically it. And then day one, Abraham, infinite grace. Day two, Isaac, overcoming. And day three, Jacob, the heart. And day four, Moses. Day five, Aaron and Joseph. Day six, parallel to the olive. And David, heavenly kingdom. So this is it. This is it. So we host different modes. And like Felipe mentioned, Abraham is a kind of quality, infinite grace. Isaac is the opposite. And it's not nice all the time to overcome. Isaac is representing the overcoming. So, like, it's not nice to overcome, because to overcome, we have to pull a lot together and to restrict ourselves. So, it is not pleasant to overcome, but we do it, but we host this quality. When we overcome, we remember to overcome is not, it's not expansion, it's opposite. It's not pleasant, but since we move through those moments, this is it. This is overcoming. So we host this feeling of overcoming, not just through Isaac in us, or through our daily lives. And Jacob is the middle line in us, the heart, and Moses is eternity, and so on. So either it's easier to look inside and see in ourselves those qualities, or what easier for people is to look into those names, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and to detect those sensations or streams that go through us. This is the beginning because we have seven shepherds, but we have eight princesses, a princess of men. And I would like to maybe to start with this tomorrow about the relation between seven and eight. What is experienced in the temporal is seven. What is experienced outside of time or beyond time and space is the eight. And maybe tomorrow we can start with Micah, he speaks about this, the relation between seven and eight.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Eti.
Thank you for coming.
Yafa, Yafa, beautiful. Thank you, Shad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great class. I love
Shalom,
it.
Thank you
everyone.
so much. There is
Shalom, shalom,
a
Shelton. Shalom.
song, Shalom, and the song that Daniel also sing. Love is seven we put here. Daniel, thank you so much. So if you have time, we can meet here tomorrow and
Yeah.
discuss more topics that coming to your mind and heart. Thank you so much for participating. Have a beautiful day.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.